very, very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us for this panel on Women in Theatre today. This panel is hosted as part of the Jairangam Jaipur Theatre Festival 2020 in collaboration with Brahmaputra Cultural Foundation. I am Radhika Goswami, a theatre practitioner and director of the Arts and Culture Space, Agora in Guwahati, and your moderator for the evening. So just to start off with, we would like to talk a little bit about the Jairangam Theatre Festival, which is proudly hosted by 3M bands this year from December 5th to December 27th. It started as a Jaipur Theatre Festival in the year 2000 and was limited to Rajasthani theatre. But in the year 2012, it was rechristened as Jairangam, which is an acronym for Jaipur Rang Mahotsav. Since then, it has spanned over 8 editions, and currently we are in the 9th edition of the festival. It is a very well-recognized and celebrated theatre festival in India, which takes place in Jaipur every winter, and is a community celebration of arts, vibrancy, drama, and culture. The festival is a cross-interaction platform between the regional, national, and international performers, actors, directors, storytellers, scriptwriters, thinkers, and artists alike. And in its present form, it provides a platform for the participants and the professionals and amateurs alike to be part of a bigger cause, that is global theatre. In our panel today, we have 4 leading practitioners in the field of theatre from Assam. And since the panel is about a special focus on Assam, we would like to introduce our panelists very briefly, starting with Dr. Asha Kothari Chaudhary, who is a professor and former chair of Department of English at Guwahati University. She specializes in drama, theatre, and film studies, and has been part of several prominent theatre groups in Guwahati as a dramaturg. Among her publications, she has written several books, articles, peer-reviewed journals, some of the most famous being Mahesh Tatani, published by Cambridge University Press in 2005, and Ideas of the Stage, Selections of Drama Theory in 2010. As a Fulbright Scholar awarded in 2015 and 16, she worked on a research-cum-lecture project called Theatre, Spectacles, Audiences, Indian and American Cultures of Viewership at the CUNY Graduate Center, New York. She has been invited to speak at Columbia University, San Diego University, and West Virginia University while on this scholarship. She has also been invited to speak at the World Theatre Congress in Stockholm, Belgrade, and Shanghai in 2016, 18, and 19, respectively. She has also curated the first 2 editions of the Guwahati Theatre Festival in 2016 and 17. Thank you so much, Ashadi, for being with us, and we welcome you to the panel.
Thank you for having me.
Our second panelist is Shilpika Bordeloi. She is an artist trained in many faculties, multiple dance forms, martial arts, yoga, being among others. She has worn numerous hats, including those of a performer, choreographer, playwright, and director. As an artist and scholar, her landmark project, Katha Yatra, involved a series of performances, exhibitions, films, live shares, and other transmedia expressions of storytelling, and encompasses art, dance, culture, traditional knowledge systems, environment, biodiversity, migration, conflict, development, borders, and economy along the river Brahmaputra as facets of this project. She has also been at the forefront of reviving traditional art forms in her own community, which is best exemplified by her project Lore, which fundamentally seeks to revive the musical instruments of the indigenous people of Assam. In addition, her dance and theatrical productions, Majuli and A Human Endeavor, have traveled to prestigious festivals in India and abroad. She has also founded the Brahmaputra Cultural Foundation, where she works as the artistic director in 2012. She also works as a visiting faculty at NSD, NID, and has been conferred the Sangeet Natak Academy Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar for her work in contemporary and experimental dance. Thank you so much, Shilpika Bodle, for joining us.
Thank you, Radhika.
Next, we have Papuri Midhi with us, who has specialized in acting from National School of Drama, New Delhi, and has a master's degree in Sanskrit, and her ardent love for understanding human psychology, she has exposed herself to several ontological studies. She has performed at various national and international theatre festivals such as Bharat Rang Mahotsav in New Delhi and Wiener Festoshen, Vienna, and Asia Theatre Festival, Beijing, China. She has worked with international directors in projects like Inko Sazana, created in collaboration with the students of the University of Cape Town, South Africa, and 1 Million by Dennis Malifor, Switzerland. Among her other projects, her most recent endeavor, called Performed Conversations, is a non-resource-based theatre practice where it does not require skilled actors, a stage, lights, sounds, sets, or any other resource-heavy equipment, and engages the audience into talking about their own experiences and notions on social issues like peace, gender, norms, and justice. She has worked with some of the finest directors in India, such as Dr. Anuradha Kapoor, Dr. Professor Tripurari Sharma, and Ranjit Kapoor. She conceives most of her performances through personal experience and draws from socio-political realities occurring around and projects on them onto multiple platforms. Thank you so much, Papurba, for joining us.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Rabijita Gogoi, who's a theatre director who has worked for the last 25 years in India, and she's directed more than 35 plays in various Indian languages, including Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, English, Assamese, and other Northeastern dialogues, such as Karbi, Boro, and a few Naga dialogues. She has been invited as visiting faculty to various Indian institutions, such as NSD, Hyderabad Central University, Sri Ram Center for Performing Arts, Delhi, etc. She, apart from her work in India, which includes famous directorial projects such as Gontho, the first text, Antigone Mania, which was done in Assamese, Rang Pherbi, Rangbe in Karbi. She has also worked on international theatre projects like MIWA, an Indo-Japan collaboration project, in the capacity of a co-costume designer. Also, she has worked in an Asian artist collaboration called Asia Meets Asia in the capacity of a performance maker in Tokyo, Japan in 2005. She has been part of other projects such as Theatre Sutra with British Council in Edinburgh, Scotland, 2008. She has presented several theatre papers, and one of them being at the International Ibsen Conference, Dhaka, Bangladesh in 2002. She has been part of Purva, Asian Women Theatre Artists Conference, New Delhi 2003, Dawn, South and Southeast Asian Regional Consultation on Feminist Engagement with Conflict, Impunity and Peace, Kathmandu, Nepal 2009, and the 8th International Women Playwrights Conference, Bombay 2009. She has a post-graduation degree from National School of Drama and received the Akka Ebong Eke Koekjon Young Achievers Award in the field of theatre in 2005 and the Sangeet Natak Academy Ustad Bismillah Khan Award in 2006. I welcome all the panelists to this, what seems to me as a very interesting and engaging conversation that we are about to have. So to begin with, I would like to first ask Dr. Asha Kothari to sort of take us through this journey of theatre in Assam. And when do you think this engagement with women started? Because I speak up from the Shankardev School of Theatre that we very well know in Assam, but a little bit more about that.
Maybe we could start with something like the Natya Shastra actually, because that is also something that is relevant to what Shankardeva in Assam is doing, because it's part of the larger um, Indian theater and dance traditions. Because when you're saying Indian theater, there is no such thing as one Indian theater. It has to be a whole panorama of performance art, of dances, of even singing, for example, is a specific kind of performance art. So you don't really have a certain kind of significance attached to this whole notion of theater in terms of India, because the range itself is huge. You have folk, you have commercial, you have mobile theater in Assam, and so on and so forth. So if you're trying to sort of pick that out and see how women, and because this conversation is about women, how do women actually figure in the Indian performing arts, it becomes very interesting. There's two or three things. It's a huge area, so I would not be continue to talk about that. So I'll just pick out two or three things that I think are very relevant, very interesting to our understanding of what it means to be a woman and to be in the theater. All right, Natya Shastra. There are so many references again and again to the apsaras all the time in the Indian ancient myths and so on. So the apsaras are essentially performers; they're dancers. And when I'm talking about dance, I'm essentially talking about theater, because in all Indian dance envisages this notion of abhinay. Right, so it is very. In fact, the Natya Shastra still lives only probably best in its purest form in the Indian classical dances. I suppose all of you are aware of that. And so, the point is that the Apsaras were performers, the first female performers, perhaps, if we are thinking in terms of the myths and the archetypes that that kind of a myth can generate. So you have that. You come down to Sanskrit drama, you do have a whole bunch of women performers. Compare that to the Western, and you find that it's very interesting. Look at Shakespeare's time. Yeah, we all know that there were no women performers allowed. There were, of course, women characters, but there were no women performers who were allowed to actually act on stage. When the French groups would travel sometimes early on, the earlier times, when they would bring female performers to Britain and they would perform on the British stage, they would be pelted. They would be pelted all the time, all right? So women were not supposed to be there. Okay, now I'm going to make a huge, big jump back now to the 14th century, Shankardev. Mind you, Shankardev is a contemporary of Geoffrey Chaucer, of the 14th century, the 14th century poet in England. So you have that old tradition. We know about how the Sinha Jatra was written, and how it has this notion of the seven paradises and so on. So it's full of maybe required female characters, but again, notice how with Shankardeva, the Shringar Ras itself becomes sort of compromised. He's not using that in the Khatriya tradition as much as, where the Shringara Ras is concerned. It becomes a love which is, between the male devotee in some sense and Krishna. So the love is not a romance as such. So what happens to Radha? The female part of desire, if you want to call it that, in terms of, because you refer to Shankardev, this is something that is very interesting. And one of the reasons, why only male monks were performing all of the entire Onkia Nat and Bhavna's tradition that we have. Please tell me if I'm wrong. You are all practitioners, but as far as I understand this, there is a certain degree of marginalization that is happening to women in the theater, women around whom, characters also. You don't find too many characters that will, immediately jump out at you when you're thinking of Shankardeva and the older traditions in Assam. Okay, right. So and I suppose the same is the case with other places also. But then you do have Abhigyan Shakuntalam, for example. Sanskrit drama has these big female characters. In Shudrak's Mrichakatikam, you have that Vasant Sena's character, huge character, okay, a prostitute, but then the lead character, and someone who's almost a kind of a power woman, right? Someone around whom the whole play revolves, and she sort of emerges pretty much unscathed right till the end, until she makes a choice to go into the Buddhist space. Okay, but it's a choice and it's a decision she makes. So there is this idea of agency, and that is what we always talk about when we talk about women and how they are represented, whether they have a voice or not, and so on. So in Assam, again, I'm making these huge jumps. I hope, please bear with me, because I'm trying to link up these traditions, from Sanskrit drama to Shankardev to what is going to happen, say, in the 19th century, late 19th century, when the Bengal Renaissance is happening in Bengal, and a whole lot of our people, the big literateurs, Bez Borua and Padmanath Gohai Borua, and a whole bunch of our, writers, not the female writers, please note. There are no female writers around this time who are writing plays. They're writing novels. They've begun to write, but they have, this movement to Bengal and back. So there is this a notion of modernity that is coming in. And the first play that you have, probably it's named after a woman. Actually, it's Ram Nobami. Okay, Ram Nobami is the name of a woman, and she's the central character of this play that comes since early 1900s. Okay, so that's where you probably have, in terms of literature, dramatic literature, the center staging of a woman character there. Okay, then of course you have Joymati. Joymati becomes the big character, and there are, Padmanath Gohai Borua writes about Joymati, and then Lakshminath Bez Borua writes about Joymati. So you now have Joymati, but does that mean that you have a female voice there? I don't think so, because Joymati.
I would like to actually agree with you there, that like for a lot of us who are not very aware of the history of the theatre movements, Joymati does become this break for us, where we see a female being represented. Maybe not in the sense that we would like to, but this is the first play that I think a lot of us saw as the break from all male cast to a female-centric character.
No, because the underpinning is, you see, the superstructure that we constantly refer to as patriarchy is what that has, sort of thrown up the character of Joymati, because its nationalism is happening, independence movement is happening, and you need an iconic female figure here, because also reform movements are, surrounding you. All these people, male writers, I'm not saying they're doing the wrong thing. If they didn't do this, if Vidyasagar hadn't started his work in West Bengal, you wouldn't have had the first graduate of the British Empire from Calcutta. Okay. So it's these little things that actually build up, bring us to a space where it is now possible to have a voice. But Joymati herself, I don't think is someone who has the voice, because she's propped up as a nationalist icon, a sati, someone who will die for her husband. She will keep quiet to save him. She will, she will keep quiet. Silence is a huge thing there. All right, so you have that.
Taking off from that, I would like to go to Rabijita Ba to actually talk about how, as a woman director, when you see these kind of texts, how did you feel you could represent better? When Ashadi talks about silence being a huge part of the character, because the ideal woman is something that is fantasized to be this obedient, this submissive, almost an object to be molded of sorts. So I would like to ask Rabijita about when you write your characters as a writer and director, and I know that you have done quite a few plays where women play a major role. And how did you kind of connect this and say, I'm going to break away from tradition and write the modern Assamese woman very differently? Ravijita, I don't think we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit now.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I think, yes.
Much better.
Yeah, you see, then, this Joymati, the way has been written by Padmanath Gohai Berua and Bez Barua. Bez Barua, it is like taking it from like Shakuntala things and it's mixing up and then building his own story. And Joymati has many interpretations. Historians has a different interpretation about this character and then whole political scenario of that time. And there is a lots of contradictions. In case of me, like, while I see this kind of characters, I always feel like, structuring my own script, writing my own script, because this script are so much into a system, it's very difficult to pull out from the system and telling your own story. It's really difficult. And I not only in this about these women characters, I have lots of problem with other things like, how writers write a text, these male writers, mostly in terms of in Assam specifically, it's mostly the male writers are writing plays, no woman is writing. And in fact, in whole India, very few women writers are writing plays, very, very few. गिने चुने numbers में है. तो मेरे को कभी भी जैसे whenever I think of creating a play of Joymati, then I will have to write my own texts. I will have to my own interpretations, and their texts will be very difficult for me to interpret and present it because it is already into a system. So I always prefer my first play probably this all initial plays like in 1999 it is Rongparpi Rongbe. That is a woman, who questions about socio-political systems, fight against the system, and she try to show a different path, new way by herself, her own way of analyzing the society and politics, and she was trying to find a new way to solve and fight with the society and go ahead in her life and in the society. So I prefer taking up my own stories. Like I took Rongparpi Rongbe, then I took Mamoni Raisam Goswami's novel, rather taking a play, this is a novel, then it is free. Then you can, you can take things from the novel and create your own story. And Mamoni Di was quite liberal and giving me the right to do that. I did Devi Pithor Tez, while they was questioning the lead character is Padma Priya is constantly banged the whole system of marriage system, what is marriage, what marriage means to a woman or a man, huge questions she arise through this novel on the patriarchal understanding of man-woman relationship. It is very important, but not through the plays, Radhika. So I always took up my, novel or short stories, or I developed the own text, or I worked with a writer. Rongparpi Rongbe, I worked with a writer called Basanta Das, and we developed the script the way that I wanted to emphasize on the woman perspective and questioning the socio-political system.
Right. Thank you so much for that. That's the best answer I could probably hope for this question. Going to Shilpika Ba. So Shilpika Ba, your plays, Marjali and A Human Endeavor, are also through lived experiences that you have created them. So I would like to also know your opinion on the conversation that we are having about how these women characters are represented and interpreted, and how they were probably the whole now and then scenario, and how you place your work in this.
Yeah, thank you, Radhika. I totally, resonate with what Robijita just said, actually, and I have actually only created 2 productions, directed 2 productions. One is Majuli, and the second one is A Human Endeavor. And both of these work, Majili is a completely devised work based on my own personal journey about a geography, which brings together also my historical identification with the place and my whole impressions of a lot of social, spiritual existence of this geography. However, in the context of this discussion, what is more relevant is a human endeavor. So for human endeavor, I chose a text which was written by Mary Shelley. She was a writer in the 19th century, and she wrote an introduction to her book Frankenstein. So I wanted to work on a play, but I could not really, there was no script that I really wanted to, that I really resonated with. And I was a student of literature. I had studied Frankenstein long back in college. And much later, I was kind of reading a book of monologues for actors. And I chanced upon this introduction written by Mary Shelley on how she came upon the idea to write Frankenstein. I was actually very drawn to it because, 19th century Europe was a very fascinating time. It was also, it was a period of awakening of all kinds. Darwinism was there, the church, science, all kinds of questions of evolution, and everything was happening in that period. It was very fascinating that a woman writer, all of 19 years old, wrote a book such as Frankenstein. And, even till today, it is made into movies, and it has had across medias, plays, movies, etc. So many brilliant works and inspirations. So I felt that, for me, when I read her text, it was really about transformation. It was a story of transformation. She actually, and that is what really fascinated me. And I feel that, women writers, when they, certain women writers, of course, not everyone, there is a certain, there is a transcendence, there is a transformation, and then ability to look at a situation and, take it somewhere else. So to me, a nightmare that Mary Shelley had, and she wrote a fantastic book based on that. I saw that as a woman who could, rise beyond any social situation that she's facing, whether it is, any kind of mistreatment or a molestation or shame or, any kind of a situation that is relevant to our context in our country. So I kind of wrote this play after, to my understanding of my time. It was not Mary Shelley or from 19th century. And I feel that, this kind of a, of course, for her, she had a brilliant upbringing. Even though she was in the 19th century, she came from brilliant literary parents, and she was exposed to all kinds of experiences. So coming back to our context in Assam, when we were listening to Asha speak about Shankar Dev, I was actually reading this very interesting paper where it says that Shankar Dev also wrote a version of Ramayan where Sita, is protesting. In a way which is not very popular in the northern versions, So it was a paper about looking at Shankar Dev as a feminist. So it was very interesting for me. I would like to read a little bit and know a little bit more about that. I just read it 2 days back, so I didn't have the time to research much on it. But I feel that, for me, I think, these kind of parallels are very important. These kind of, when we are looking into the character or we are making a theater, we are making these parallels which are connecting us and the world that we are living in. And the metaphors are not just about man, woman, but it is beyond. It is about nature, nature, and it is about the environment, and and it is these parallels can be seen in a very holistic and a larger way, and that is what I'm trying right now.
Thank you so much, Shilpikava. In fact, what you said really interests me about, how we may interpret Shankardev as a feminist based on the text. Coming to Papuriba, your work really interests me from the point of view that it breaks from proscenium entirely, and also the fact that you visualize experiences as theater and episodic theater of sorts, and talk about theater of the oppressed. So a lot of your work does revolve around feminist issues and uncomfortable conversations. So I would like you to comment on this.
About मैंने जैसे ज्यादातर मेरा परफॉर्मेंस जो है वहीं से आता है कि मेरे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से। तो अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जो सभा या शिल्पिका रियली परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशंस भी उसी वजह से आया कि वेयर इज माय स्क्रिप्ट, क्योंकि
Papuriba, your audio, Papuriba?
सॉरी
Papuriba सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है अच्छे से।
अच्छा, अभी ठीक है?
अभी ठीक है।
ओके, सो अगर मैं कुछ भी स्क्रिप्ट, मैं बेसिकली आई एम एन एक्टर, अगर मैं एक्टर हूँ तो अगर एक स्क्रिप्ट आता है तो मुझे क्वेश्चन आता है, अगर हो सकता है चित्रलेखा में भी हीरोइन हो सकती है, उसमें चित्रलेखा है जो आपने खुद जाके इसको उसको माया भी बना दिया हमने, जिन्होंने कुछ किया है, जाके अचीव किया है, मतलब लेके आए हैं द्वारका से अनिरुद्ध को। तो इस तरीके का क्वेश्चन जब भी मैं प्ले करती थी तो आता ही था। तो एक तरीके की जो आप बोल रहे हो कि पूरी तरीके से मैं ये नहीं कहूंगी कि मैं जो कर रही हूँ वो बहुत मतलब थिएटर ऑफ ऑपरेस जैसा है, क्योंकि मैं पर्सनली बिलीव करती हूँ कि अगर मैं कहीं पे ऑपरेस हूँ तो कहीं पे तो मैं ऑपरेसर भी हूँ। तो मैं कुछ जो परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशन है वो एक्चुअली कुछ एस्टेब्लिश नहीं करना चाह रहे हैं, उससे मैं कुछ एस्टेब्लिश नहीं करना चाह रही हूँ। वो जैसे हमारे प्रोसेस ऑफ लिविंग में हमारा कुछ चीजें होती है, डिजायर होती है कहने की, कुछ कंसर्न होती है शेयर करने की, और वहां से हमारी जो पर्सपेक्टिव बनती है, और वो पर्सपेक्टिव कभी कभार इतना ठोस हो जाते हैं, और I just want to break that solidified belief system of mine, that solidified perspective of mine through conversations. And it's sometimes it's very uncomfortable conversation. For example, when we are doing Phelani, we all know it's a novel of Arupa Patangya Kalita. So that we talked about identity crisis of Assam, identity politics of Assam, and in one show, one from an audience, one lady shared that जब कोई एक कम्युनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के समय में, मैं वो मूवमेंट का नाम नहीं लेना चाहूंगी अभी, एक कम्युनिटी से उनका हस्बैंड जो है रात को पूरी तरीके से खुद को ढक के सिर्फ आंखें खोल के जब वो दूसरी कम्युनिटी के घर जलाने जा रहे थे, तो उस समय वो बार बार उनको वो वही बोल रही थी कि जो उनको वो मना कर रही थी अपने हस्बैंड को, तो हस्बैंड ने बोला कि इन सब तुम्हें आइडिया नहीं है इन सब के बारे में, चुप रहो, सोते रहो, और मैं निकल रहा हूँ। तो उस टाइम पे वो हस्बैंड को तो मना नहीं कर पाई, लेकिन उस टाइम वो ही सोच रही थी एज ए मदर कि जिस कम्युनिटी का घर जलाने वो लोग जा रहे हैं, वहां पे भी तो मेरे जैसा बच्चे हैं, तो उनके घर का पाप हमारे घर में ना आए। मतलब मतलब उनके लिए उनके हस्बैंड जो पाप कर रहे हैं, मेरे बच्चों को उससे बचाना, वही वो प्रे करती थी। तो एज ए वुमेन किसी भी मूवमेंट में वो तो नहीं बोल पा रही थी, वो तो उसका तो नहीं, मतलब उसका हस्बैंड भी को भी लगा था कि तुम नहीं बोल सकते हो। तो उस तरीके के बहुत अनकंफर्ट, वी ऑल नो अबाउट दैट। जो मैं कर रही हूँ, जो हम कर रहे हैं परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशंस के थ्रू, ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ नई चीजें बोल रहे हैं, हम सब लोग जानते हैं, लेकिन खुल के कुछ चीजें बातें करने में हमें थोड़ा सा डर भी लगता है। और मेरा मोटिव उस वहां से यही है कि मैं कुछ ये भी नहीं करना चाहती हूँ कि ये पर्सपेक्टिव राइट है, वो पर्सपेक्टिव रॉन्ग है। अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव के लोग जब ऑडियंस में होते हैं तो उस मल्टीपल पर्सपेक्टिव में एटलीस्ट एक दूसरे के पर्सपेक्टिव को हम समझने की कोशिश करें, एम्पैथाइज कर सकते हैं, उसमें लाभ जनरेट हो कि ये एक उनका पर्सपेक्टिव ही है। तो क्या मैं मतलब जो आप पूछ रहे हो उसमें रोशनी डाल पा रही हूँ, मतलब
जी जी बिल्कुल। पर आपने जो बात कही है, I actually do want to bring up the idea of the body here, like the woman body, and how in a lot of ways, you know, there has been fetishization, there has been objectification of the woman body. And I would like to hear from all of you what your experiences of dealing with text who writes it in a certain way, or theater which has displayed it in a certain way, and is there a break from that kind of fetishization of sorts in the recent times, especially in Assamese theater?
Yeah, I think Rohini should take that question. She's done a whole bunch of things and she's retold a lot of stories. So even starting from Antigone, for example, uh, you know, it's a Greek play. It's written by a man, but then it is about a pathbreaker in so many ways. So I think that would be interesting to see how she got into that.
Certain kind of writers and with a, you know, where there's a, you know, liberalism is there, you know, liberal perspective is there. It's like, you know, Antigone has been adopted by many people, and it is 100 and many years ago. And I was working on Ja Anui's adaptation, French adaptation. Basically, I prefer that adaptation, and I work on that. And actually this Antigone, that what I'm doing, Antigone Mania, this is completely my version of my recreation, you know, recreating the whole story in the context of Assam. We cannot do a play like in a Greek context or some other context, but I want to tell my own story. Problem is that I'm not a writer. I could have been try to write, but I as a director producer has so many areas to handle. Like, you know, I need creative people in my team. Like, you know, I am the producer for my group, and I am the director, and then I am the manager. You know, I do so many multitasking already. So writing, so that I always feel like, oh God, if I get some good text and then which is helpful, and then I can reinterpret it. So that's how this kind of Antigone, and then Margaret Duras La Musica, or this other kind of Mamoni Raisam script, or then Girish Karna text is coming to my hand. It is very difficult, you know, while I feel always complicated and trouble while I was doing Wrong Parpe Wrong Way. It was also again a socio-political context. And Antigone Mania, again, it is in socio-political context. Dhruv Samini I did, that is also socio-political context. It is not only women issue, this is not only about this existence of women. I respect that it is very, very important area. But then for me, this context is more bigger, like, you know, socio-political society is there. And then I want to see this women in the society, you know, not very separately women alone, but women in the society and different perspective into it. So it becomes very difficult while we do a play and interpret you. It is very difficult to uh, people like, you know, while you talk about politics, people think that it is not a woman job to talk about sociopolitics. You know, you do your theater beat, you know, why you are talking about sociopolitics. I always feel like that, you know. I feel many a time it is a very important interpretation I'm doing in some context, like while doing Rongparpi and then while doing Antigone Mania, I'm talking about freedom. Antigone is giving the last speech, and she's talking about this freedom, mankind, humanity in the global context. We are talking about environmental issues, human rights issues. We are talking about self-determinational issues of self-determination. That is the issue, no? Feminism, that we want self-determined. We want to determine our things by ourselves. Like that, I want determined to tell my own story through my play. Bloody, I don't want to care in what is a big history and legend there. I am living my life and I want to tell my story to my audience. That's why this big struggle I am taking last for 25 or 30 years. Like, it is every day is a struggle. And as a woman, you know, in all sense, like, while you deal with women actresses who come from very patriarchal system, to convince them, to make them understand, to make them, to give them free space to take their own story. Direction is not that about nowadays, that I am not a kind of director that, this is what I want. I also want this creatively participating, all artists creatively participating. Like, actresses also many a time came from a very patriarchal understanding. So it's very difficult. The people that come to watch my play, they are very patriarchal.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it is
I
very
just
critical,
I
very critical state.
what
Yeah.
Vijita is saying is so important, and it's so true because, the body is not just a physical manifestation of, a culture, of a living culture, but it is a space where all the networks of politics, all the networks of our practice and politics come together. And it is not done alone. It is done in the community. It is with our whole team, and it is so challenging at times. Like, I don't have as much experience as Robijita. I want to know about all her work, but even in the little work that I have done with, in theater, with some of my productions, and it's so true that we have so much to do. Like, we never just get a chance to just create. You have to be the manager, you have to think about all of those things. But that's for everyone, I think. I don't want to just say that just for people in theater. All of us have to multitask.
I'd like to put in one thing, because you're talking, one thing that comes up straight away here is, I see that Shilpika and Papuri are both, in some sense, performance artists as well. Your theater practice brings in all sorts of things from the cultural space as such, isn't it? And so it becomes it becomes resonant with all sorts of things across the board. But then, what I'm seeing is that you still need a certain kind of like Robijita is pointing out, there are so many women novelists in Assam, wonderful writers, heavy feminist stuff. Okay, Mamuni Baido, for example, Nira Goswami, wonderful perspectives from the point of view of a woman, but you don't really have plays that might be enacted. And when you're thinking about the body again, the way a man sees a woman's body and the way he represents it is going to be entirely different and compromised. It will be. You cannot stop that happening, because if it's a writer who's writing a female body, it's not going to be the same thing that is going to work out in terms of how a female would represent her own body. On the other hand, I remember there was this huge play that was traveling across the world, actually. This was in the aftermath of the Nirbhaya case. And the play was on Nirbhaya. I suppose all of you are aware of that play. And it was, it traveled across the board. And because Nirbhaya, I mean, what can be more about the female body than that particular incidents? And so when you have a group of women taking up that story and moving across the world with that story, with the body in the center, and the battered body in the center of that space, it takes a lot of courage on the one hand to tell that kind of a story, because you're most likely to brush all these issues under the carpet more often than not, if you are within that patriarchal system that you where we are all sort of stuck in. Having said that, there's also the counterpoint of this kind of a play. I'm not going to name the play director here. It was a male director, and I saw this play. It was Lights Out by Deena Mehta, I think, and it was performed in Guwahati.
Lights Out by this Manjula Padmanabhan.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's Manjula Padmanabhan. Yes. And it was Lights Out. It's about rape. It's gang rape, and rape that is repeated every day, every evening. All right. And there are some people who are seeing the act of rape happening below. It's in a public space. It's happening in the road, and gang rape is happening, and it's a repetitive incidents that happens. It's a horrible kind of thing to represent. You know what happened in the representation of it in the Guwahati performance? People were laughing at the act that is happening, which you have all these 4 or 5 characters who are commenting on what is happening. Let us put our lights out, let us not be there, and so on, because that's the name of the play, and they're using that as a motif. But imagine what a crisis is brought about when you are representing the female body, which is being battered, but it is not being done in the correct fashion. Okay. And that totally unacceptable.
I cannot believe that this happened, actually, because I was not aware of this.
I've actually had a scholar write half a chapter on this, on this particular performance. It was horrifying.
Because it does remind me of also, the play Draupadi by Kanhailal Haisnam, which was banned from Manipur because it had Ima Savitri bare all in the last scene, because it was seen as vulgarity instead of a symbol of power, a symbol of finally standing up for herself. Because the play Draupadi also is on similar lines about a gang rape and her husband being killed by the military. So, these instances, yes, Rabijita.
I just want to come in, in Assam, while I talk about, because this context is Assam today, so I think there's a very stereotypical understanding about female body and representation, even more or less in Assamese literature. There's lots of, I don't know, so I should talk like that, or I don't know, but I feel in lots of in Assamese women writers literature, they don't take these critical areas of this womanhood, this body part, this womanhood. They don't come. They in many literature I have seen they represents the lead character is woman, or they are talking about this woman, but they are not getting into this complicated area, and which is this main important segment of this womanhood. They don't talk about body. They want to represent very stereotypically. Let us take an example like a small incident, like the Lights Out example. If there is a sequence like after a drunken man beats his wife every night after taking drink at night, he's a lower class, this character belongs to a low economic zone. In a male character, it has been always taken it like ye to hona hi hai. This is a part of life. This is ye to process mein hai. Ye अब जब एक woman director directs this play, then if I direct this, I question it. Why this woman? I am not going to show this sequence. I'll put it in a different way. Then
what way would you?
That's exactly what I was saying, because the representation has to be done probably by a woman, and the production I'm talking about was not so. It was directed by a male. Okay, so that brings, it just shows you the ruptures that are really there.
Yes. Apurva, would you like to come in here?
Yeah, मैं बहुत ही बेसिक लेवल पे, मतलब ये तो बहुत डीप जा रहे हैं ये डिस्कशन, फिर भी मैं बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे ये कह रही हूँ कि जैसे एक वुमेन बॉडी को नरेट भी करता है, जिस तरीके से अगर एक मतलब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से ही मैं बोलूं, अगर मैं एक बार कुबरी का रोल कर रही थी, मतलब का रोल कर रही थी, वहां पे अगर हम नेरेटर डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं, नो डाउट कोई क्लास लेकिन हम रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं इस टाइम पे, लेकिन हम
Kapuriva, the audio is very cracked, Kapuriva. थोड़ा थोड़ा आ रहा है बस.
मे बी नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम. अभी आ रही है?
हाँ.
ओके. सो जैसे डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं कि सिकुड़ता चेहरा, सूखा गाल, चपटी नाक, मतलब चपटी नाक और नुकीले नाक, मतलब हु डिसाइड्स दिस. और जब मैं एज एन एक्टर मेरी एंट्री आ रही है और नरेटर ऐसे डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है, मुझे रियली गुस्सा आ रहा है. और उस टाइम पे क्योंकि मेरे लिए भी ये आकार हो रहा था, क्योंकि मुझे कहीं ना कहीं चित्रलेखा पे इंटरेस्ट भी था एज एन एक्टर. सो जो चित्रलेखा और उषा के रोल कर रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं एज एन एक्टर भी जेलस फील हो रहे हैं. और मैं अब कुबरी की जेलासी को जैसे समझ पा रही हूँ. और उस टाइम पे जब मैं एंट्री ले रही हूँ, मुझे रियली गुस्सा आ रहा है कि तुम कौन होते हो मेरे तो उसके बाद से जब मैं, और उसके बाद एक सीन में वो कुबरी फिर मिरर में देखती है और वो रानी के काबिल नहीं है, तो लगता है कि मिरर में ही दोष है. तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट उस टाइम की बात है. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर मतलब जो नोशन ऑफ हीरोइन का जो डेफिनेशन है, जिसमें है एक हीरो की गर्लफ्रेंड ही कहीं ना कहीं हीरोइन है, जो हमारे लिमिटेड एक्सपोजर से बचपन से देख के आए. एक गांव की लड़की कितना देख पाएंगे उस टाइम पे, तो लिमिटेड एक्सपोजर में बस उतना ही देख पा रहे कि एक हीरो की गर्लफ्रेंड ही हीरोइन होती है, तो वो सो एंड सो होना ही है. तो उसको उसी तरीके से प्रेजेंट किया जाता है. और जब वो फिर मेरे दिमाग में फिर एक तरीके से घुस गया उस परफॉर्मेंस के बाद कि वो मिरर फेंकती है और सारे लोग हंसते हैं. उस ऑडियंस पे कोई भी नहीं था कि उसको ये नहीं लगा कि वो कुबरी तो खुद को एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर पा रही है मिरर में देख के. सबसे चाइल्डहुड से वो सुन के आई होगी कि चपटी नाक, सिकुड़ता चेहरा, तो वो कैसे खुद को एक्सेप्ट करेगी. तो उसके बाद से मैं जितना भी ज्यादातर गाना सुनती हूँ, सब में मतलब बहुत प्रोग्रेसिव राइटर के राइटिंग में भी कहीं पे सुनाई देगा कि वो है तो साउथ इंडिया से, लेकिन देखने में वो टिपिकल साउथ इंडियन नहीं है. वो शी इज सो ब्यूटीफुल. मतलब वो लोग बहुत ही जैसे प्रोग्रेसिव राइटर ही है. मैं ढूंढ रही हूँ, मेरा चश्मा ही बदल गया था उस टाइम पे देखने की. तो हर गाने में, हर चीजों में, नॉवेल में, सब में जो एक कहानी होती है, उसको लेकर कहानियां होती है. और उस समय एक्चुअली मुझे ये आकार हुआ था, डायरेक्टर कुछ भी रीजन से कास्ट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उस समय मेरे लिए ये आकार हो रहा था कि शायद बिकॉज ऑफ मेरी हाइट और बिकॉज ऑफ मेरी स्किन कलर एंड बिकॉज ऑफ माई बॉडी शेप दे कास्ट मी एज कुबरी. सो उसके बाद से मैं बिल्कुल 2008 से लेकर आके 2016 को पूरा एक प्रोडक्शन किया था स्पॉटलाइट करके. और उसके बाद अब मैं स्पॉटलाइट का परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशंस वर्जन करती हूँ. तो वो बड़े लेवल पे तो चीजें दिखता है, लेकिन वो छोटे लेवल पे जब एक ऑडियंस से एक स्टूडेंट शेयर करती है कि अगर ये परफॉर्मेंस में पहले देखती तो मेरा 70,000 बच जाता. 70,000 क्यों, मुझे भी नहीं पता था उसमें 70,000 लगती है, क्योंकि उनकी डार्क सो कल प्रोपोर्शन में नहीं था. और उस दांत को अंदर करने के लिए उसको 70,000 खर्च करना पड़ा. एक मिडिल क्लास की लड़की 70,000 मैकबुक में खर्च कर सकता था, DSLR में खर्च कर सकता था. तो वो उसको तो बस दांत में खर्च करना था, वो प्रेशर था उसके ऊपर. या फिर एक लड़का अगर रोके ये बोलता है कि ये मतलब अब तक मुझे लग रहा था कि ये बॉडी मेरा नहीं है, क्योंकि सब लोग उसको बोलते हैं कि तू तो लेडीज है. तो फिर वो रोके बोलता है कि आज मैं देख पा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि वो स्पॉटलाइट जो परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशन से लास्ट में हम सेल्फ एक्सेप्टेंस और सेल्फ लव की एक मेडिटेशन करते हैं कन्वर्सेशन के बाद. तो मतलब बहुत ही बेसिक लेवल पे कि मेरा अगर पॉकेट मनी 1,000 रुपए है और मुझे अगर 100 कल परफेक्शन में आना है, तो पहले तो मुझे पार्लर में ही देना है 1,000 रुपीज. तो और ये स्पॉटलाइट का मेरा टारगेट ऑडियंस है कॉलेज स्टूडेंट. तो ज्यादा इतनी सारी शेयरिंग आती है ना वहां पे, तो रियली मतलब खुद लड़का ये शेयर करता है कि हाँ, अब तक हमने सोचा नहीं था, हमें बाइक के पीछे एक ऐसी लड़की क्यों चाहिए. हम बात करने से ज्यादा लोगों को दिखाना चाहते हैं कि देखो हमारे से मतलब कैटरीना टाइप की है, ये उनका ही मतलब डायरेक्ट वो है कि वो कैटरीना टाइप चाहिए हमें. तो खैर मतलब जिस तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट किया जाता है हर चीजों में, क्योंकि 2008 से मेरा जैसे एक चश्मा बन गया था कि वही से चीजों को कहाँ पे क्या है कहाँ पे, तो वही दिखता था मुझे ज्यादातर। तो कविताएं पढ़ना जैसे मुझे थोड़ा बोरिंग ही लगने लगा था उसके बाद में, क्योंकि मेरा बॉडी शेप कविता में नहीं है, मेरा बॉडी शेप मूवी में नहीं है, मेरा बॉडी शेप गाने में नहीं है। तो शायद ये एक वजह भी है जिसकी वजह से मुझे एक ऑल्टरनेटिव ढूंढना पड़ा। मतलब ढूंढना पड़ा तो नहीं कहूंगी, ढूंढी मैंने। तो खैर, तो वो बॉडी बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे बहुत, हाँ सॉरी राधिका।
No, I'm just saying that, like, you know, if we want to follow the be the change in the world quote, I don't think there's a better example than this, that you created your own narrative.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at a paradigm, you know, this whole idea of beauty as a paradigm. And that's obviously made by men, right?
Yeah.
So Shilpika, your thoughts on the question of representation of the body as a dancer as well, actually.
Yeah, I feel the at the fundamental level, it is about, you know, the mind is such a palette of images and conditioning and, you know, all kinds of influences. And it's not possible for everyone to develop that process of really evaluating and discovering the self and understanding that, you know, this needs to retain, this needs to go, and this needs to be the path, and this path can become an art. You know, this is a whole process of growth as in theater, as a community, as an individual, in society, and as an individual living alone, you know, in our rooms, in our houses. So I feel like, you know, there's so much within this, and the problem is we see it everywhere. It's not just in theater, as we have been discussing. You know, the problem is representation. You know, somewhere we just want to, the conditioning is so strong. Our education system has completely negated individuality and processes of discovery of our roots, of knowledge systems which are significant. What we have is a standardized model, and the minds have gone into a process of representation, and embodiment is really tough. You know, when we really want to embody something, and we want to do that in our performances, we want to embody, and we want to, like for me, you know, like looking at the body, like I call myself a movement artist. You know, what it means to me is that there is an inner movement where I have to have that paradigm shift. I have to be able to, you know, make that, understand that this is a pattern that I need to, you know, let go internally, so that when I express it outside in theater or in dance, you know, it becomes a movement of a kind, not just for the performance, but for, you know, for something, for the whole art, for the whole journey. So I feel it's really tough. It's not easy to do that. There are many things which work against us. You know, I don't know how most of us have been educated in a particular model. It's not easy to overcome all of those things. And, but we are all trying in our own way. And I'm so honored that, you know, we have such fantastic women today and such wonderful journeys. You know, what Papuri has said is just so beautiful. And all of the experience of Robijita and all of the intellect of Asha and your wonderful questioning, you know, this is a situation of hope. This is a situation of, you know.
Well, on that note, actually, I would like to celebrate a couple of achievements that we've had in Assam by women leaders in theatre like you. You know, the fact that we have a Robijita Ba or a Papuri Medhi or a Shilpika Bodle or Asha Kothari Chaudhary, and people who are now experimenting with performance arts and theatre in general, which were probably not, accessible to one gender entirely probably 100 years ago, 50 years ago, is now being practiced on the regular. Like, for example, Lopa Das, who performs Ujapali, which is traditionally a man's, space, but she has brought it out onto public, and she performs in Ujapali for a huge crowd now, and the audience has accepted that kind of a change. Or Ram Vijaya, which was done by Madhurima Chaudhary in 2014, when she did it in Shri Ram Center for Performing Arts, the Onkianat by Shimanta Shankardev. And she did it with a full female cast. There was not one man present. And, these are positive notes that I would like to bring into this conversation and celebrate womanhood and sisterhood in its entirety. So
I would like to add one more, which is
yes.
also very patriarchal art form, which is like all this mobile theater of Assam.
Yes.
And then there was a theater company which is formed by all women.
Yes.
Named
Absolutely.
Kalpana Theater Company. There is a
Kalpana Theatre Company.
Kalpana Theater Company. They tried. It is okay. They failed, but still they tried it.
tried.
You know.
Yeah.
They
No
tried
wonder,
it.
like,
Yes.
that's exactly what it is, right? Being torchbearers and pioneers to lead the path for others to follow. So, on this note, I would like to ask my last question.
One point, 2 line I'll take, 2 minutes I take.
Don't
Sure.
This contemporary Assamese theater, we still have to, in my theater, even in my works, including my works, that what I'm always in my work also, we all these women directors still need to work on this representation women, because if we are enlightened, we really, I also need to work a lot in this direction. Representation of women and women body on stage, it is very, very important, and it is very challenging. Challenging because I'll give you a small example. We had a 17 or 18 show of a productions where this female characters was wearing she removed her kurta on stage. After removing her kurta, she came in a spaghetti. And then in one particular show, because her husband and other few male friends are coming to watch this show, she, without my permission, she took a stool on top of that. Because the whole point was that for that particular sequence, remove him a kurta, and then she's talking about her body. And then, there was a rape case. She was talking about rape case, and she was almost unfolding. I was trying to unfold the whole stigma of this body, and she used this stool. And I had a huge conversation with her. And why you did it? She was like, she was apologetic, feel bad. She agreed that she break the ethics of theater, but at the same time, she is in a society. She's told me, and she had to took a stool over that. But then whole point of that particular sequence is gone. While you see this Pinabau's productions, this body in Pinabau's performances, and Maya Krishna Rao in India. So these bodies basically somehow, I don't know, it gives an power to me, like it's a neutral human body. In Pinabau's productions, all women bodies, it looks like, yes, they are human being. But while I see my own production even in Assam, I realize that I still need to work so hard on it and trying to bring humanistic angle of our body. It's not this conceptualized womanized body. It's not, bringing out this concept of body through performance is very, very important, I think. Thank you, Radhika, for giving me time. You take your last question.
In fact, my last question actually jumps off that board itself, because just to conclude this wonderful discussion, I would like to ask you all, what are the ways forward that we can think of when we talk about not just feminist theater, but also women in theater in different capacities and different roles? A lot of the technicians also, we do not have women technicians as much as male technicians. So like, what would be the ways forward to bring all of them into the fold of theater or the public spaces and share their personal stories, and also talk about, this symbiotic relationship that we can create between the public and the personal? how about we start with Shilpikaba?
There are so many questions within that question. I'm just thinking, where exactly do I begin? Because the relationship between the audience and the performer is such a deep subject. We can have this whole talk about that. Then, then the other question that you were talking about, that not just in performance, but on stage, but in our light. Of course, we do have a lot of women in costumes, but in lights or in other departments, I think I don't know. I mean, I really feel that for me personally, like when I do more work, I just want to. I really like working with the community of women. Honestly, it's just so wonderful to work with a team of women, and I want to make more work which is relevant and which speaks about our stories and and not just me, like all women and all their stories should come out. So I think that's what I can try and create, facilitate processes for people where they have a safe space. I run 2 venues. So the venues are spaces where women can experiment, if they want. In Jorhat, I have a space. So if anyone wants to experiment with anything, they are more than welcome. It's a safe space that I can provide where, nothing is going to be censored. So, I can facilitate and help in those processes. I can only speak in that way. Overall, I can just hope that we'll all support each other and we will, have a positive story to share when we again collect next year. Thank you so much, Radhika.
Papariba?
Again from personal experience. So जैसे मेरे लिए बहुत मतलब पहले से रोबिस्ता आइडियल रहे हैं कि वो किस तरीके से एक चीजों को मैनेज करते हैं, मतलब एक ग्रुप को सब. तो मैंने खुद पे जब देखा था कि आई एम नॉट, मैं अच्छे से मैनेज भी नहीं कर सकती हूँ, तो मैं खुद को बहुत रॉन्ग कर रही थी उस समय. फिर उसी समय मैंने एक मतलब एक वो मिला था, ऐसे मिला था, समय का घाटा सुबह करके टीवी से हरियाणा की. वो जब मैं कर रही थी तब मुझे खुद के लिए ब्लेम थोड़ा सा कम हुआ इसलिए, क्योंकि मैं इसलिए ये कह रही हूँ कि उससे पहले कि हम मतलब मैं कॉटन कॉलेज में ही पढ़ी थी, डिगोली पुखुरी पार्क में ही रहती थी, तो क्यों मुझे ये नहीं लगा कि मैं रविंद्र भवन में जाके नाटक देखूं, क्योंकि मैं एक अच्छी लड़की थी और मैं 6:30 को बस तक पहुंच जाती. और अभी भी मैं कभी अगर बहुत रात को एक दिन मैं खेत से आ रही थी, चांदनी रात थी, और मुझे लगा कि थोड़ी देर में रुक जाऊं, तब मुझे समझ में आया कि मेरे भैया जो पोएट है और जो उनके पोएट फ्रेंड आते हैं, क्यों वो लोग खाना खाने के लिए आते हैं. तो इसलिए मैं ये इसलिए शेयर कर रही हूँ क्योंकि अभी भी मैं अपने गांव में भी अगर देखती हूँ जो अपने अपब्रिंगिंग में उस नॉर्म्स के साथ ढल गए हैं, वो तुरंत कुछ और करना है जो देख इच्छा, मतलब वही करना चाहते हैं, ऐसा हो जाता है. साथ में उनके लिए स्पेस, जो अभी बोल रहे थे कि स्पेस कहाँ पे वो एक्सपेरिमेंट करे, एक तो थॉट में ही नहीं है. दूसरे जैसे मेरे साथ ही एक लड़की अभी रहती है ज्यादातर, वो रियली वांट टू प्ले फुटबॉल, बट वो बोलती है कि मतलब पीरियड्स आ गई है, जो मैंने कहा मैदान तो है हमारे पास, लेकिन वो मैदान तो हमारे लिए है. तो इसलिए मैं ये चाह रही हूँ कि वो माइंडसेट में, स्पेशली समय का घाटे को जो मतलब मैं परफॉर्म कन्वर्सेशंस की तरह भी कर, तो वही पहले तो मैं उसी चीज को मतलब जितने लोगों को के साथ शेयर कर वो डाल सकते कि मतलब खाना बनाना ये जिंदा चीज तो है नहीं, जो हम कर रहे हैं वो मतलब हमारे बॉडी के साथ कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है उसका, और वो किसी ने बोला इसलिए नहीं करना है. तो ये बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे पहले तो मैं उसी पे मतलब आगे मतलब वो बीच में डालना चाहती हूँ, जितने लोगों तक मैं शेयर कर सकती हूँ, मतलब गांव में, स्कूलों में, कॉलेजों में। तो क्योंकि मैं अभी एक स्ट्रक्चरल थिएटर क्योंकि नहीं करती हूँ, तो शायद मेरी टीम में अभी तो सिर्फ मैं ही हूँ और फैलाने में हम 2 लोग होते हैं। इसलिए मैं अभी बहुत वही, अभी तक मैं मैनेजर मतलब वो मैनेजमेंट मेरा कि मैं इनको रिप्रेजेंट उस तरीके के शायद अभी मैं नहीं कर पाऊँ, लेकिन मैं अंकुर तो डाल पाऊँ, कुछ मतलब बीज तो डाल पाऊँ कुछ दिमाग में, तो ये मेरा है।
बिल्कुल। थैंक यू सो मच पापुरिबा, आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करने के लिए हमारे साथ। रविजीत अबा?
Yeah, हम जब इस while we was talking about this, I tried to note it down few points, like, first 4 points I feel like to share in this question. Like, one, I think that first we need to shy out, we should not feel shy to say that we are feminist. There are writers, poets, there are lots of progressive people, they just don't want to say feminist. They write, and in many cases it may be a radical feminism, but still they approach, but they don't want to say feminist. We need to create a space that women can say themselves, yes, I am a feminist, and I talk. It doesn't mean that we are anti-society. It is not a terrorist group. We want to talk about, our rights. Then we want to be like a human being. That's very simple. Then I think this is really, I feel it is very important. If you talk to many writers, they don't feel like, even they write. In their writings, there are lots of aspects are there. Second, I feel lots of awareness is needed just about, women voice rise करने का importance, specific voice rise करने का importance of women voice. While you talk with, I had been to many seminars and many this kind of discourses and all discussion on discourses. I found that people don't want to talk about this women specifically, because these women feels that they will be out from this man society. They don't want to say this woman voice specifically क्यों होना है, because we want to talk about the society, and there are lots of many other interesting issues, this environment, and let's talk about that. Why to talk about this specific woman voice? I think there is no space in Assam to talk about, and I really feel very happy and glad that we are discussing about these things during this lockdown. So this pandemic is really wonderful, and making this possible, we at least 5 or 6 women, talking about this. I think we need to create more space. Third, I think we need to educate our girl childs about from very childhood, not making them very shy, very womanized, not womanistic, this very feminine quality, not to maintain very feminine quality, and then just to behave as a human being. But that will be very difficult, because it depends on whole sectors of society. Fourth thing, I feel like, in Finland there was a feminist who was Tina Rosesberg. I met her in one of the my conferences. They had formed one political party and named it as a feminist political party. I think, this in Finland, that is very different country. Education system is very different. They're very progressive in their education system. From class 12, there was gender studies is a subject, compulsory subject. They all have to study. And then boys have to do ironing and do all household, because society is different. But still, let's taking it an example, they are going that far. We can also think like collaboratively creating some space, at least this 5 or 6 women, that rising voice, making people aware about our independent voice.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ravjitaba, with truth bombs. Honestly, truth bombs just left, right, and center. Finally, we come to Ashadi.
Okay. I keep thinking when women meet, this is true not just of these us 5, 6 women, but across the board, if there is a conversation between women, it's never it's always a round kind of conversation. There are always personal stories that are shared. that's actually a hallmark of what it means to be in a community of women. And that's what we need to cherish about, about this whole idea of a collective of women. I'm just, because people were talking about their own personal experiences in the theater. I'll tell you when I got hooked to theater. It was like, I was just about 18, 19, 20. I studied in an all girls college. I was in Handy Girls College, right? So all women anyway. So we were doing English theater, and we decided we'll do Merchant of Venice, and we did it all girl, of course. Everything was done by women, lights and sounds and everything, except of course we did have some technical help, and they were of course men. The OP, remember OP? Everyone remembers him. So he was there. And we did it all ourselves. And you know what we did? I mean, we had to, sort of dress up. There was no space in the college itself to wear the costumes. And we were in full Shakespearean gear, okay? So we dressed up as men with beards, and I was Antonio. And we had beards and ruffs and everything, dressed actually just like this guy here. Okay, I keep an action figure. So we actually dressed like this, all girls with mustaches and beards and everything, and we walked from the hostel to the college. So this was the Digoli Pukri, half of it. We walked on the street just like that. Where we caused some jams on the streets anyway, but we were all girls, all dressed as men except for the girl who played Portia. That was when I actually got hooked to the stage. And see what happens here. This was Shakespeare's play, which it was always all male actors. And here we were all women actors doing this play and doing it completely on our own. Okay, so that is something, it's just a story I thought I should share with you because it's so personal and because it's, it's somehow resonates with this whole idea of everyone trying to get there into this space where it is possible to do theater with a voice for women, from women, of women. You see, that is the thing that we are looking at. Ideally, of course, the society that is genderless, really, one doesn't think whether you're a man or a woman or LGBTQ. And ideally, that is the space we want to arrive at, but we are not there yet. And so we have to get there somehow. And the way to do it is obviously together.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And on what a lovely, lovely thought to end this on. And I would like to thank all of you, all the lovely, lovely panelists for joining me this evening and making it already a better day and a better future for all of us, just to think about these things. These food for thought is very important, I think, and to have it always at the back of our heads when we are creating more work and creating, more avenues for women, young women, to actually join us in the troops and have these conversations in public places and feel represented in different fields across the board, not just in theatre. With this, I would like to also thank Jairangam Theatre Festival for providing us this opportunity to have this panel discussion. And of course, Brahmaputra Cultural Foundation for helping curate and host this evening. So thank you so much, all the panelists and everyone who's watching.
Thank you.